To create 3D shapes, you first need to create a path to either revolve or extrude. We'll begin with revolving a path. To start, you want your tools open, you want layers open, and you want what's called the appearance panel or window open. The appearance panel shows all the different things that have been applied within a file. So right now, all it shows is that you have a stroke color selected, a fill color selected, and the opacity is set to default, which is 100%. Opacity is how transparent or solid the color is. To begin, if I simply draw this path here and end it. This, if I apply the 3D revolve, this line will revolve all the way around in a 360-degree pattern, which will create a three-dimensional shape. The edge of that shape will have this path. And on this side, if it's 360 degrees, this same shape will be mirrored over here, creating what should look like a bucket or a container. So let's give it a try. We're going to go to Effect, 3D, and Revolve. So first thing, you want to set Preview so that you can actually see what the settings show. So again, we created a path that was just half of this shape. It was a path that just came down on an angle and to the left. But right now we see a black exterior and a white or gray interior. That is affected by the colors you set for stroke or fill, so you can change them at any time. Next, let's look at more options. Right now we are viewing this 3D shape with what's considered a plastic shading. You have other options: diffused shading, no shading at all, so you have no lights or darks, it's just the solid colors, or as a wireframe object. You can view any way you choose. I happen to like plastic shading. I can get some reflective surfaces. You get the the gradient of white to black, which would be the grayscale. Now, in these additional options, you do have the option to change shading. So there's black shading applied right now, but it's applied to a black shape, so you don't see the difference. Now you can see by changing its color how shading affects your shape. Okay, now if you'll notice here, there's a dot, a white dot. That's your light source. Light is coming down on your shape from this top right corner. And you can add as many light sources as you choose. So you just click here, you add additional light sources, and you'll notice that as you click and drag light sources to different places, it changes the lights and darks on the surface of your shape. Okay. You can also adjust, of course, the intensity, the ambient light, the highlight intensity, the highlight size, blend shape. That's how many steps does it take to get from your lights to darks. So let's just explore here. Sometimes it can make a much smoother transition of color from your lights to dark, and sometimes it can start to look choppy. So you should explore that as well. Next, you might choose to not have a full 360-degree revolve. That means this full circle that your path that was drawn has taken will only revolve part of the way, and watch what happens. Okay, now you can see it disconnected here, but you don't really see what's going on. So let's just click and rotate. Click and rotate, and let's see. All right, so we're seeing directly into the shape at this point. I'm going to take us back to 360. Now, offset. Offset is how far this point is when it connects to all the other points rotating around. So what does that mean? Let's just turn this down for a moment so we're looking straight in. Right now, the shape that was revolved comes to a point, and it's this point here. So as the program revolved your shape all the way around, it came to a point in the middle. If we offset that slightly, it should be separating. So if you notice, we're looking through it now. So it's not really a bucket any longer. Let's see if we could rotate that up. It's not really a bucket any longer. It looks like it's a bucket, but it has a big hole in the bottom. So for this particular shape, that might not be the right approach because I was trying to make a little bucket. So we want the bottom to seal up. So 0 points. There's no separation where these points should be connecting. The next feature from left edge, right now, the left side of the path that was drawn here, which is sort of a backwards L, the left side, that is the direction that the revolve went. But watch what happens to the shape if we have it revolved to the right of that path. So this path, if it's revolved right, becomes a cone. If it's revolved left, we get a bucket. Keep that in mind. Now, up here, these simply are degrees that, if set, allow you to rotate your shape on the X and Y axis. Same thing can be done by simply clicking on this 3D box up here at the top. Now, we're going to click OK to get out of that. And if you'll notice over here in appearance now, we don't just have the stroke color and fill color and opacity. We now see 3D revolve. 3D revolve was applied. So if I want to go in and make any more changes to the 3D effect on this shape, I edit it through appearance. If I go back to effect and click 3D revolve, it adds another instance of 3D revolve, and what happens is your computer will slow down and it will become very difficult to complete your edit. So instead, we go back into the 3D revolve already applied, and we make changes in here now. Now that we've finished our first shape, let's look at what other shapes are needed. So we've created the bucket shape. To create the bowl, again, you draw a path that's simply half of the shape. So we do a little crescent shape here, or path. To create the sphere or ball, you'd create a path that is half. For a donut shape, we would create a path that is a circle, and that circle would be revolved. And for this last one, which looks hollow on the inside, it's an open path that has 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this one is a path that is simply the top point to the side point and back, similar to what we did for the bucket. However, we'll handle this one differently. So first, we're back in Illustrator, and let's do our bowl. So again, it's an open sphere or ball, so we're just doing a quarter of a circle shape path, and again, effect 3D revolve because it's a new shape we're creating, and we'll preview it. And look at that. It revolved it openly. And again, all of the settings, as we reviewed them with the last shape, are the same. And you can set them specific to what you want. The next shape was the circle or ball shape. And we might have to edit this just slightly to get a good, let's see, I think I'm gonna need to round that in just a bit and maybe drag. For those of you who've forgotten how to edit anchor points or paths created with the pen tool, you can use your direct selection tool or any of these other tools in the tear off. So let's go in and check our half circle path. And of course, preview, and there we go. Again, settings are the same as when demonstrated with the bucket. We also are going to, let's do our donut shape next. You could use this technique for donut shapes or for tires, inner tubes, anything that you want to make circular and 3D. So this is our first full shape path that we've created. When this revolves, it's going to create a tube, but in a circular pattern, because of course we're revolving it. So, and let's try a different color this time. Let's go for an edible color. It's the fall pumpkin. Okay, so we'll get rid of color. So my stroke is the outer color, the line color, and of course the fill is this white, and let's maybe go with a yellow here. And back to effect, 3D revolve, and preview, and see what we get. Now, we're seeing into the side view. How about let's rotate it down so we see it from the top a bit more. And of course, we have an indent or dimple where the revolving occurs, which is the left edge. Watch what happens if we go right edge. It's simply revolved to the right, and since it's a whole shape, it stays the same. It's a donut. But we need to open up the hole in the middle just slightly. So we use offset to separate where these points revolve. Offset simply opens up and separates. So again, you might try to take a tiny chunk out of your donut by using less than 360 if you choose to do that. Let's see a bit of the inside. Not liking that too much. Okay, and patience because it takes time to render. I'm just going to go top view. Okay, and I think I'll go back to 360. So, as far as shading color goes, that could not re-render itself. Very interesting. Let's see if it'll work this time. There we go. Okay, if you'll notice the shading, the dark black color here, or charcoal color, that is controlled again by shading color, and you can customize that to whatever works for you. I'm thinking maybe more of a brown. And then we click OK to get out of there. Okay, I think we have one shape left. Let's just double check that. Oh, we have two shapes left. So Okay, now we're going to create the open path and go into effect, revolve, preview. Again, rotate down. We'll need to offset some to open up the center. Woo, way too much, way too much. Okay, and let's just see what the difference between the left edge, working from the left edge, and working from the right edge. Not any difference, really. Just the color. No, let's see. Light orange, a burnt orange, and a green inside. The color changes slightly because we're seeing this differently. Interesting. Okay. Again, you can rotate and adjust the light settings. Oh yeah, I get that whole inside look. Now, let's say I want to go back in and edit that. Remember, this is your reminder. You use appearance to go back into 3D Revolve. Do not go back to effect and add another instance of 3D to the shape. Just go back in here, make sure you select preview, and again, make whatever changes you wanted. And our last shape, which was laying down, the shape itself, let's take a quick look. The shape itself is laying down, but there's no half for me to draw. What I have to do is create this shape upright. So I'll do a point, 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 similar to the garbage can, and then I have to lay it down. So I can't go point, 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 and then revolve and expect to get what we just saw. Look at that. I get more of a bowl. So let's cancel out of that. Okay. What I want to do is create it upright. Point, point, point. Now we'll go into revolve. Okay. Now I'm going to click OK to get out of it. On first thought, you might think that you simply select and rotate. But look what happens. Whatever position that path is in, it will revolve itself to make it work. So let's undo, Command Z. What you have to do is go back into the edit mode, preview, and it has to be rotated from in here. That way, it maintains the same angle and shaping that you gave it with these settings. Click OK. And there we have it. I believe we have all of our shapes created now. Yes.